Well, hello and welcome again to our reading through of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading the book of Revelation up to chapter 8. As I may have mentioned before, this is only a reading through. It's just to help those who wish to read the Greek and help with some of the grammar. You would really need to consult commentaries to get a much fuller understanding of what is going on behind the scenes here in these fairly complicated symbolic stories. Kai hotan enoixen ten sfragida, ten hebdomen egeneto sige ento urano hos hemi orion. Kai edon tus hepta angelus, hoinopion tu theou hestekasin, kai edothes anautois hepta salpinges. And when he opened, and I think the subject of this we have to understand is the lamb from earlier on. So when he opened the seventh seal, egeneto sige. Sige is a noun meaning silence. There is a verb sigao, I am silent, and this is the noun from that. So silence occurred. So what we would say there was silence in the heaven. Hos hemi orion. This word only occurs here in the New Testament, and it's fairly rare, but the meaning's fairly obvious because it's from hemi, meaning half. We get our word hemi, hemisphere, and so on from this. And the or root here is connected with ora, meaning an hour. So, and hos with a time or number means approximately. So, approximately half an hour. And I saw the seven angels who, hestekasin is from hesteka, which is the perfect from histemi, but with present meaning. So, are standing. So, who are standing before God? Kai edothes son, and the subject here of this passive verb is salpinges, from salpinx, which is a trumpet. And this is an aorist passive here, so 7 trumpets were given autos to them. Kai alos angelos aelthen kai estathe epitu thusiaste rio ekon libanoton crusoon kai edothe auto thumi amata pola hinadose tais prosukais ton hagion pantone epi to thusiasterion to crusoon to enopion to thronu. And another angel came, and he stood. This is the aorist. It's aorist passive in form, but it's the aorist from histemi, and it simply means stood. So he stood at the thusiasterion is the altar. And this is the word that's typically used of the Jewish altar all the way through the Septuagint and the New Testament, as opposed to bomos, which is a word meaning a pagan altar. This is the thusiasterion. This is the Jewish altar. So he stood at the altar having libanoton crusoon, having a golden, we've seen libanos meaning incense. This is the word meaning an incense burner, libanotos. So having a golden incense burner, kai edothe, and now the subject, again we get an aorist passive, and the subject of it is thumi amata pola. Much incense was given auto to him. Hina, in order that he might give, or perhaps almost place. Now the tais prosukais here is slightly tricky. I think it means something like along with the prayers. It's a bit that the Greek will sometimes use the dative like this, meaning prayers and all. So that in order that he will give, we'd expect a subjunctive after hina. We get a future here, which I think we have seen before in this writer. So in order that he might give along with the prayers of all the saints, that he might give it, understand perhaps to God, or the dose here is almost in the sense of might place it. So I might translate it that way. In order that he might place it along with the prayers of all the saints, epi tot thusiasterion, on the golden altar which is before the throne. Perhaps with the dose we might say to offer it, perhaps might be a good translation here. The Greek is slightly odd. Kai anebe ho kapnos ton thumiamaton tais prosukos ton hagion ek kairos to angelu enopion to theou. And the smoke, the kapnos, of the incense, this is plural here, we just say incense in English, the Greeks got plural. So the smoke from the incense, anebe, aorist from anabino, so went up, and again we get this dative here, it's along with the prayers of the saints, ek kairos, from the hand, genitive after from kairo, from the hand of the angel, enopion, before God. Kai elephen ho angelos ton libanoton kai egemisen auton ek tu puros tu thusiasteriou kai ebalen estengain kai egenetobrontai kai phonai kai astrapai kai seismos. And the angel, elephen, is the perfect from lambana. We've had that before, I think. So the angel took the libanotos, this is the incense burner, and now this is from gemizdo, to fill. So he filled out on it, agreeing with the libanotos, from the fire of the altar. Kai ebelen, he cast it, eistain gain, upon the earth. I think earth rather than ground here, perhaps it could be either, so he cast it upon the ground or cast it upon the earth. Kai agenita, and there was brontai, which is thunder. Kai phonai, this must be, was voices literally, but perhaps loud voices. Kai astrapai, this is lightning. Kai seismos, and an earthquake, a shaking, connected with the verb saio, to shake. Saio, to shake, and seismos is a shaking, perhaps an earthquake. Kai hoi hepta angeloi, hoi ekontes tas hepta salpingas, etoimas en autus hina salpisosi. And the 7 angels, those having, participle from echo, those having the 7 trumpets, from salpinx. This is from hetoimazdo. You get hetoimos, meaning ready or prepared. This is the verb hetoimazdo, to make ready or prepare. And I think it's they made them ready, that is the trumpets, hina, in order that. And now we get the verb formed from the noun, this is from salpizdo, is to sound the trumpet. So they made them ready in order that they might sound them, we might say in English, sound the trumpets. Kai protos esalpisen, and the first one sounded his trumpet. Kai genetok halasda, kai por memigmena in haimati kai eblethe esten gain. And there was, now halasda is hail, the Greek word for hail, halasda, and the fire, memigmena, is a neuter plural perfect participle formed from mignumi, and you just take the root of that, which is mig, and then you're forming the perfect passive participle, and it's neuter, so it's agreeing. Well, it's neuter, so it's agreeing back with some combination of these two. This is a feminine noun, this is a neuter noun, and this is a neuter plural. So both of these things, I think, the hail and the fire, mingled with blood, that use of in instrumental meaning with, we've seen before. Kaiablethe epitane gain, and it was thrown, this is the aorist passive from bellow, It was thrown onto the earth, or onto the land, perhaps onto the earth, might be better. Kai to triton tes ges katekae, kai to triton ton dendron katekae, kai pas kortos chloros katekae. The verb here is from katakaio. It's kappa alpha iota omega, katakaio. This is the irregular aorist passive. So you've got an augment, the chi gets reduced back to a ka, and then the normal aorist passive, which got a theta, that disappears. It's an irregular form. It's the aorist passive from katakaio. Kaio is to burn. Katakaio is to burn completely, and this is the passive here. So the third of the earth, sometimes translated was consumed. So it was completely burnt up, destroyed by fire, and a third of the trees, katakae, were burned by fire. Kai pas hortos chloros katakae, and all the hortos has one of the meanings of this is grass. It's got a range of meanings, but the main one I think is grass. And chloros, we've seen before, it's that pale green colour. We get the word chlorine from this. It's a pale colour. Perhaps here it's all the pale green grass, katakae, was consumed by fire. Kai hodeuteros angelos esalpisen. And the second angel sounded his trumpet, esalpisten, and kai hos oros mega puri, and there's a variant reading here, kai omenon eblethe ten thalasan, kai ageneto triton tes thalases haima, kai epithenin triton ton ktismaton ton into thalase ta ekon topsukas kai triton ton ploion diaphtharesan. And the second angel sounded his trumpet, and like, I think this is hose here, meaning like a mountain. Now this is a participle from kaio, that verb we had before. There's the root there, and it's a present passive participle, and it's neuter, agreeing back with oros, which is a third declension neuter noun. So like a mountain burning, mega probably adverbial here, greatly, or it could go with the oros. It could be a great mountain burning with fire. That's probably better here, I think. So like a great mountain burning with fire, eblethe, it was cast into the sea. And it happened that the third of the sea, I should say the third of the sea, egenetop, became haima, blood. Kai epithenin totriton ton ktismaton ton into thalase. Now, ktismaton literally is that which is created. It's from that katisda root. We've had katisma as well in this work. I think just creatures here is probably the best translation. So a third of the creatures, those in the sea, epithenin, died. Those having psukas, literally those having souls, those having life. And the third of the boats, ploion, this is from top ploion, second declension neuter noun. So a third of the boats, diaphtharesan. This is the aorist passive from diaphtero. If you're looking it up, it's dia and phthero with an alpha iota, rho, omega. This is the aorist passive, no theta because it's a verb here with a rho on the end here. So the third of the boats were destroyed. Kai hotritos angelos esalpisen, and the third angel sounded his trumpet. Kai episen ektu urinu aster megas kai ominos hos lampas, kai episen epiton triton ton potomon, kai epitas pegas ton hudaton. Kai to onoma to asteros legatai hot upsinthos, kai ageneto to triton tone hudaton as absynthon, kai polloi tone anthropon apethenon ectone hudaton, hoti epicrantheson. So the third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star burning like a lamp fell. There's that from epesen we've seen before, from pipto, that's the aorist is epeson, and here it's a strong aorist, although you can't tell the difference, I suppose, at this point. So it's epesen, so it fell from the heaven. So a great star burning like a lamp fell from heaven, and it fell upon the third of the potamon, of the rivers, from Potamos, kai epitas pegas, and a third of the streams from Page. This is a first declension feminine. Page, of the streams of the waters. Streams, or perhaps almost rivers of the waters. And the name of the star is called absinthos. This is an interesting word. We get the word absinthe from this in English, that very strong drink called absinthe. The word was used of wormwood, is the translation of it. It's a woody shrub with a very bitter aromatic taste, called wormwood, and of course they used that particular wood in making absinthe, which is that very strong, very highly alcoholic drink. I don't recommend it. So this is wormwood, and the editor here's put a capital A, so it's identifying it as a name of the star. So the name of the star was said to be absinthe or wormwood, and the third of the rivers turned into absinthon, with a small a here, turned into wormwood. And many of men died, apethenon, from apothenesco, from the waters, hoti, because, now this verb here, it's not epi, it's the epsilon's an augment. This is from pikrino. It's got an iota here. This is the aorist passive from pikrino. Pikros is bitter, it's an adjective. Pikrino is to make bitter. And so they died from the waters because, understand, the waters had been made bitter. Kai hoteteros angelos esalpisen kai eplege totriton tu heliu, kai totriton tes selenes, kai totriton ton asteron, hina scotiste totriton auton, kai hehemera me phane totriton autes kai henux homoios. And the fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and the third of the sun, the third part of the sun, and the third part tes selenes, the third part of the moon, and the third part ton asteron of the stars, from aster. Now the main verb here is eplege. Now it's singular, it's an aorist passive, it's singular because, well, there's three different things. They put the verb early, so it's referring just back to the first bit, and then you've got other things added in. So it's perfectly good Greek to do that. This is from Plaso, if you're looking this up, it's pi lambda eta double sigma. And this is the aorist passive. Plaso is to strike, and eplege is was struck. So the third of the part of the sun, the third part of the moon, the third part of the stars was hit, was struck. Hina, in order that, literally the third of them. Now it's not clear exactly what that means. It may mean that the third part of the sun and of the moon and of the stars, presumably, Scotiste. So this is an aorist passive subjunctive from scotisdo. Skotos, a word meaning darkness. Scotisto is to make dark. And we get the aorist passive here, so was made dark. So in order that the third of them, presumably that's referring back to the sun and the moon and the stars, was made dark, kai hehemera, and the day might not appear, well, in respect of the third part of it. The Greek's slightly odd here. So it's literally, and so it's after this hina, and in order that the day might not appear, well, at least the third part of it might not appear. Kai he nux homoios, and the night in like manner, or likewise. Kai edon, kai erkus sehenos a etu petomenu en mesuranemati, legontos phone megale. Uai, tus katukuntas epitesges ekton loipon phonon, tes salpingos ton trion angelon ton melonton salpisdane. And I beheld, and I heard, it takes a genitive, I heard one aetu is an eagle, and aetos is an eagle, so I heard one eagle. Henos is from haste a hen, this is the genitive, henos, agreeing with aetu, and I heard one eagle, this is from petomai, middle, so flying, en mesuranemati. This is again a word only I think appears only here in the New Testament, and it's fairly rare otherwise, but the meaning's pretty clear. It's from mesos, meaning the middle, and uranos is the sky. So it means in the middle of the sky. It may have the sense of it could be a sense of time when the sun is in the middle of the sky, hence at midday. But well, it's generally, I think, just translated as when the eagle was flying in the middle of the sky. Legontos, another genitive participle agreeing with aetu, speaking with a loud voice, saying, woe, woe, woe. Uai, uai, uai. So woe, woe, woe to the katoikuntas, those inhabiting, those living, epites gaze upon the earth. So woe to them from the loipon phonon. This is from phone, so from the remaining voices or sounds, perhaps, tes salpingos, of the trumpet of the three angels, the ones being about, so this is in apposition to the three angels, the ones being about salpisdane, to sound their trumpet. So just to do that last bit again, and I beheld and I heard one eagle flying in the middle of the day, the middle of the sky, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants upon the earth, to those dwelling upon the earth, from the remaining sounds of the trumpet, from the three angels, the ones being about to sound their trumpet. And that's the end of chapter 8.